Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments now. I'm taking questions. It's so good to be able to see you, especially since I've been traveling and I am still able to catch up with you, though. That's the important thing. And I want to answer your questions tonight. Hello on Instagram. So nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. Put your questions in the comments. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'm U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I represent clients in all 50 states and around the globe. And I am here, I come on here and I give good information to help empower immigrants and let you know that there are ways to be able to fix your status if you're here and get your papers legally to stay in the United States. And yes, even now. All right. How much time it's taking for the VAWA receipt notice? 3 to 4 months. Right now, I do expect that that's going to change in the future, but right now they have been inundated with applications. They're changing, with the change in administration, they are, taking a lot of time. Hello, good night. Hi there on TikTok. Nice to see you. Good night in Trinidad. Hi, Avian. I came here illegally. I got my green card. Should I be scared to travel? So you're a green card holder. And as long as you didn't tell any untruths about how you enter the country, they are totally aware how you enter the country. You qualify for your green card. You should be able to travel. But keep in mind, if there's something in your background that you are concerned about, it's time to talk to a lawyer, make sure all your T's are crossed, I's are dotted before traveling. When you ask for voluntary departure, what's the timeline to go back in the States? So voluntary departure means that you are not going to there when you leave the country, it's not considered deportation, so you won't have the restrictions like the bars that are associated with a deportation, which means that you could always apply to come back to the United States. The timelines, though, is still going to depend on what's going on in your situation, what's in your background. For example, if you have other bars that apply, you still have to also overcome those bars. Some of my friends still have not received a reply from USS after applying for I-589. I-589, we usually get them instantly when we apply via the electronically. So if you apply by paper, it's gonna take a while. Is it safe to do asylum now since I came in illegally? Keep in mind, to be approved for asylum, they don't necessarily consider your entry, right? If it's related to the asylum. So give us a call, talk. Time is ticking when it comes to asylum. You only have up to a year. We help with that, so get in touch with us. My husband filed for me. How long it take to get receipt notice? I'd say about 2 weeks. Is their immigration still acknowledging the asylum and giving work permits? Yes, we are still receiving work permits and receipt notices from the asylum. Can I apply T visa when I go back to my home country? No, once you leave the country, you won't be able to get the T visa unless you're a derivative. But if you're applying as the main applicant, you must show that you're in the United States. I had only go there for nursing school and overstayed my visa. So if you overstayed your visa, you would not have entered illegally. I don't know if you're the same person that asked that question, but let me see any other questions. I don't see any more. I'm gonna go on to TikTok. I'm seeing a lot of questions here. I filed for asylum and they received annoyed. The lawyer who was supposed to help me respond. Well, if your attorney is responding, then you have to go with your attorney. If you have annoyed, you only have certain amount of time to reply, so need to be on top of it. Hello, what's the next after getting the receipt last month? Form I-360, then biometrics, prima facie, and then your work permit after that. I have misdemeanor, illegal dumping, dismissed, married to U.S. citizen, no, 5 years, should apply for N400. Get in touch with us. Citizenship is a little more complicated, and it's not to say that you will not be approved, but you do have to show a lot more information as to why you would qualify for that. For citizenship. So get in touch with us. It really being approved, it can because look at it this way, the application, it's like if you're applying to a college or applying to a job, if you submit very minimal information, you're not going to get that job or you're not going to get into that college. You have to be very thoughtful about the documents that you're submitting for citizenship now based on the changes in policies. So the same applies here. We're very good at this, so we can spot what documents to submit, especially in your circumstances. And then also when it comes to criminal conduct, we must make sure that there aren't going to be no serious immigration consequences. So guys, do not, just because you have a misdemeanor does not mean that you are going to be approved. It's minor. They are now saying they can deny people for non-criminal matters, like as something as minimal as a speeding ticket, if you don't present your case properly. So it's all right now. I can tell you the difference between an approval and a denial in immigration. It goes down to a lot of detail. What are you submitting? What relevant information are you submitting? So be very mindful. What's the rate of approval for EB2 NIW 2025? I haven't checked that. I'm an F1 student who had to stop going to school in January 2025 because I couldn't pay off my university fees in time. I've been trying to get a job so I can return to school, but no one will hire. You need to look at your other options because you're out of status now. If you're not going to school, you're out of status. So it's a situation where you're at risk. I came on in a visa, overstayed my time. What should I do? Give us a call. We look at various options, but we have to find out what your circumstances are. People have different situations, and there may be solutions that fit your particular situation. I did interview last week, but my case is under review. Is that something bad? I'm stressing out. Expect that a lot more. Case under review. They are now, as I've said previously, they're focusing on fraud screening. So not getting a decision on the spot is going to be quite normal. Now, it's so important so you don't stress. Make sure that you're preparing beforehand. From the very get-go, when you submit that application, it needs to be a solid application. Because when you go into that interview, that's where everything is going to come to our heads, and the officers really gonna go through and sift through every detail, ask questions, both of you and your spouse, and then compare your answers. So I don't know what happened in the interview that you'd be stressing, or is it just anxiety, the anxiety of waiting? But it's quite normal now that you're gonna have to wait. I went to my interview for my green card. In the portal, it reads processing. What does that mean? It means it's processing. It's in process. They have your case. So it's not closed, it's not denied, it's in process, and that may be there for a while. My green card is expired, but my application for citizenship paperwork is in. What do I do now? Apply for the renewal of your green card while your citizenship is going through. Just because you don't want to be walking around with an expired green card, especially now if you get stopped by police, you get stopped by ICE or you get caught up in a raid, you don't want to be caught without your current green card document. So make sure that you're applying to get it renewed just as a backup until you can get your citizenship approved. Now, keep in mind, I'm not your attorney and I'm not giving personalized legal advice. This is general information. If you want personalized legal advice, for example, if you need personalized information about your eligibility to have your green card renewed while your citizenship is going forward, give us a call. If my husband is deported, can I choose to go? As a US citizen, if you're a US citizen, you can. If you're a permanent resident, you keep in mind leaving the country and living outside of the US for more than 6 months will lead to you losing your green card. So you have to be very careful. But if you're a US citizen, US citizens can choose to leave and go live in another country. My husband is in jail. I remove conditions soon. What are my options? It depends on what's going on in your particular situation. Um, don't let that day pass. Give us a call. We deal with that on a regular basis. We help our clients to get approved. Is it that your spouse and you are separated, or is it separated about to get divorced, or is it that your spouse is just locked up? We need to know those. Now, if your spouse is just locked up, then it doesn't mean that you can't still jointly file with your spouse. Right now, it's taking about 4 years for these to be processed. So he can still file jointly with you, but if you're separated or divorcing, there are options as well. But we have to talk to you to find out what option would fit you to go ahead and apply without your spouse. And that might be the better option, just depending on what's going on. Who is undocumented? Anybody who doesn't have current immigration status. If you overstayed your visa, if you entered the country without inspection, those are two examples of someone who is undocumented. They're here without current papers, without current legal status. My dad did biometrics in July for T visa and I-765. Will he get a work permit soon or wait 2 years? So we are getting work permits for our clients, and we just got one this past week. I talked about that day before yesterday. We got one for our client. So yes, I would say between 8 to 10 months, work permit could come after a bona fide determination. How are how are you? I'm fine, thanks. I'm a US citizen. My mom came with a tourist visa. Can I petition for her if her visa expired? Uh, no, I'm not your attorney. I can't tell you particularly, but what I can say generally is a US citizen age 21 or older can file for a parent as long as that parent has entered the country legally with a tourist visa, even if that parent overstayed. The law still allows them to apply. Um, What is the wait time for work permit after going for your biometrics in New York? I'm not sure what case type you have. It depends. Hi there. Thank you so much, Damaine. I appreciate it. I'm still waiting for my green card 3 months after the interview. My work permit under my green card just got approved. Do you think the green card will take more time to get approved? Okay, so I don't know the timeline. It just depends on what's going on in your case. Just because the work permit was approved doesn't mean the green card is going to be approved shortly after. Usually, the 120 days, you can put in an inquiry after 120 days of the interview if you haven't gotten your result. Why does, after 2 years, USCIS send a renewal work authorization instead making a decision I-130, I-485? They're probably still looking into your case. And so it's taking a while. So they're sending you a work permit in the meantime. What I would say though is a benefit is that you're not left hanging and you would have a work permit while your case continues to move forward. If your case is outside of processing times, you can then submit a case inquiry. I'm here on a student visa. I had the 2-year rule, and Jamaica already issued a letter stating they don't object to me returning, but USCIS denied it. Yes, that's the latest thing we're seeing now is they are denying the waivers for the 2-year. It could I just send in a letter for them to reconsider. So there's really no way to appeal the waiver. But yeah, we are seeing that. And I don't know what happened in your case. But in other cases, you may be able to get another type of waiver if you're experiencing exceptional hardships. Would have to talk to you though to figure out the best option. And you may have other options. This is where I'm saying get the people who are going to benefit, who are going to um, get through a time like this are those who are investing in seeking legal advice, because you don't know the law, you don't know what's out there. And I would say a majority of my clients that have come to me did not know that they qualified for relief, but when they came to me because they watch a video like this one or they're watching the live, they decided to come to me and evaluate their options. And this is where I say, okay, you have the 2-year foreign residency issue with the J1, but at the same time, we still want to ask you more questions to see, is there any other option that we can help you to obtain to maintain legal status here or to regain legal status here? Will I be able to return to the US on an F1 visa if I went back to Jamaica, since I've overstayed for about 4 months now? It's in this case where you have overstayed and I think we're still talking about the visa, F1 visa issue. You did not continue school here, you fell out of school. It's going to be a problem to get that visa back. Um, can I use my learners to travel in the States? I don't believe I saw the learners on the list for travel. Am I law-abiding citizen? I have no criminal background, just get there for school. So now I'm back home in Jamaica. What can you help me so I can go back? You can talk to us about your circumstances, but if you're now back in Jamaica, my questions are going to be related to, do you have a petitioner? Do you have a family member? We would have to look at any possible immigration violations that could be attached. So that's where I would have to ask more questions. Do you take cases that's already filed? It just depends on what kind of case, what's going on in the circumstances. I'll give you an example. If you are applying as a spouse of a US citizen, and then that US citizen spouse or permanent resident spouse starts to mistreat you, and then you go ahead and you want to switch to VAWA, then in a case like that, we would take it. However, if you're calling us now and saying, I have an interview coming up, I filed my documents by myself, please attend that interview. In that case, we are unlikely to take your case because we have not filed it. And it is very difficult to prepare for a case we did not file, because mistakes could have been made. And if you made the mistakes, back when you are filing, it's very hard for me as the attorney or my team to be able to rectify that mistake. Sometimes it can be rectified. However, in some cases, damages can't be undone because maybe you were ill-advised or you made mistakes based on not knowing the rules or the laws. And so we are limited in that capacity. So as you can see, it's different. You can call the office and they will definitely be able to tell you whether we can take the case or not. My biometrics is next week. What happens next after biometrics? It depends on your case type. If it's just a petition that's being filed for you, adjustment of status, then you're going to get your work permit next. If it's VAWA, you're going to get your prima facie next. How long does an RFE decision take? It can take anywhere from 3 months to, I've seen them even go a year, believe it or not. Have a letter from a doctor for a surgery that will, my husband has to go, seeing that I file an I-130. I'm not sure. Uh, all right, so let's see. Does IRS payment plan is still acceptable for N400? Yes, so you can show that you're complying with the tax laws by having a payment plan. After the USIS memo of good moral character, so a payment plan would be a positive. So it would show that you're complying with the law, you're doing everything to rectify it. Oh, thank you so much, Julian. I appreciate that. I really do. Oh, thank you. Bye. D boy, I overstayed my visitor's visa for 2 years. I never left the US. I married a US citizen, adjusted my status, and got my conditional green card. Can I travel to see my mom? I have no criminal record. No, green card holders, when you have a conditional green card, you can travel. Absolutely. But keep in mind that if there's anything in your background, no, if you overstayed, you got your green card, that's not going to be held against you. But if you have a criminal record, you got new charges that they don't know about, then that could very well be a problem. So you need to make sure that all your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, but you are able to travel as a green card holder, but you just need to make sure that there's nothing in your background that's going to cause problems when you're coming back. And you already said I have no criminal record. Now, keep in mind, I'm not your attorney and I cannot give you personalized legal advice. So you should not be saying, oh, good, Attorney Sharifa says it's okay for me to travel because she says green card holders can travel. So that's all I need. I'm not giving personalized legal advice. So you need to be mindful. And if you're really concerned about something, seek legal advice. I need a lawyer. I'm in Chicago. I represent clients all over the country. Give us a call. We can help. No matter where you are, we can help. How long VAWA is taking to get approved? VAWA is taking 3.5 years, but keep in mind the benefit of VAWA is you get certain protections before you get the green card. So you get your work permit, you get your prima facie notice, you get deferred action when your VAWA is approved, and then it moves on to the green card. I own a biz. I have interview coming up. I don't have pay stub. What shall I bring? I'm not sure which side of the process you're on. Are you the petitioner? With that, when it comes to being self-employed and having to show your payments, it just depends on your business. Like, we have to know, how are you getting your money? What kind of business do you own? Is your business registered or not? How do you get your payments in? Where are you getting your work from? I did biometrics in the US on 2021. Now I applied for a green card. They want from me again, normal or no? Yeah, that's pretty normal. It's pretty normal for them to call you back for biometrics. Um, no, they were doing where they reuse, but they can call you back for another biometrics. Can a U.S. citizen child file for a parent with pending VAWA case? Yes, you can file for multiple forms of relief. If you file for if you do file for your parent, though, you have to be a U.S. citizen age 21 or older. How long is VAWA taking? So I answered that. U.S. citizen filed for my daughter in Jamaica over a year ago. How long do you think I have to wait? I would say another 2 years right now. Unfortunately, Jamaica's wait times for interviews extremely long and very frustrating right now. I think we're seeing that around the world because I do represent clients I've represent clients in countries in Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, also, and we're seeing wait times as long as that. Jamaica, we're seeing times as long as that. Venezuela, I've seen times as long as that too. So it's I would say average time a year and a half to 2 years after you're documentarily qualified. Can CO9 VAWA EAD filed again after filing C31 over a year ago? Yes. If you file the wrong category for an employment authorization, it should be the CO9. If you filed it as a C31, that's going to be incorrect because they can only issue a C31 employment authorization after they approve the VAWA petition. But that could take 3 years. You want your work permit before then. If you want your work permit before then and you've applied for an adjustment of status application, you're going to be looking at the CO9 category. Very important that you know the category that you are filing under because they can deny your application for a work permit based on a wrong category. My friend's interview was canceled 2 times. So I'm not sure why. I guess more time to prepare for that interview. I know it's a pain and they really want to get to the interview, but start preparing for that interview. I don't know why though. It could be for a number of reasons. How soon after marriage can I apply for the green card? So here's what I'm gonna give you a quick answer. Well, it might not be quick, but let me tell you. There's no rule that says you can't apply the day after you get married. But the question is, do you want to do that? Do you have the ability to do that? For example, if you met each other yesterday and then you got married today, could you file the papers tomorrow with the right evidence attached? I doubt it because you've just you've had a whirlwind of a situation. You definitely don't have a place to live together. You haven't put anything together as husband and wife or wife or wife or husband and husband. You have not put anything together as a married couple. So you're going to have to do that first. Take the time to gather the evidence. It's more important than ever because one thing too is if you apply too quickly without sufficient evidence, you could be red flagged and they could then hone into screening you more harshly or in a more detailed way. So you want to make sure that you are submitting all the right evidence, okay, that you want that, go and put your lives together as a married couple, prioritize that, and naturally the documents will follow, right? When you have to find a place together, that's a joint lease. When you have to put your finances together, that's a joint bank account. Or when you're sending money to each other, you can show financial transactions together. If you've signed up for internet together, signed up for phones together, then you have the phone bill to show a joint phone bill. When you know you're buying a car or you're putting each other on your car insurance, now you have your joint, right? That follows with getting married. So you have to take the time. It might take a month or two to put that together as you get together. Now, if you have been together, you are engaged, you have some people that are engaged for the past 2 years and then they get married. And once they get married, uh, all they need is a marriage certificate because they've already lived together. They've already had all their documents. They can show that they had a life together even before marriage. So that one, I would say you can apply right away just with that evidence attached. Let's see. All right. All right, I'm on Instagram and then I'm going to go because my power is going out. So I have to head out early, but I'm going to be traveling. So I'm going to try to get on here tomorrow, but if not, you will see me on Monday. What is the processing time for I-751 as a petitioner? So I would say 2 to 4 years. You do get a 4-year extension, so you continue to be a green card holder as you wait for the process to go forward. Does my U.S. citizen spouse lose government assistance if I'm working? I'm on F1 CPT. Does my salary affect her? I'm not an expert on the government assistance part. The government may ask if you're married, if your spouse is married, and they're going to want to look at the income of the spouse, and that could very well affect the government assistance. Any advice for F1 visa trying to attain H1B, about to graduate college, finding it near impossible to find employers open to sponsorship? And it's going to get harder, guys, because I don't know if you've been watching the news, but now employers, for any new petitions that are filed in the next cycle, for example, they are going to require 100,000 payment for those petitions. And that means that employers now are going to either be moving work overseas, or they're going to be less inclined to hire and sponsor H-1B. So we have to see how this plays out. We have to see if there's going to be a lawsuit filed to stop the policy from moving forward. But as of now, that's the expectation. It's going to get a lot harder. There are maybe other avenues as well. Right now we also terminate the national interest waiver and the EB1, EB2 process. That's where you can an extraordinary ability. EB1 is extraordinary ability. Those are kinds of green cards that you can apply for your own. But now this administration has replaced it with the personal platinum card and the gold card, where you pay $1 million and you're able to get permanent residence here. They're now saying it's going to replace that. However, can they do that? I would say no, because it's literally rewriting the law. The law, right? The INA says that we have these visa categories in place, and executive orders can't just come in and wipe out whole categories that are dictated by written law. So I think a lawsuit is coming to challenge this, but the NIW extraordinary ability may be options, just depending on any legal challenges that come. What is the processing time for Form I-130 if you file in 2025? So I would say 9 months to a year. Now, it depends on your category, by the way. 9 months to a year for immediate relatives of U.S. citizens. But what's your category? Are you the adult child of a U.S. citizen? And keep in mind, filing a petition alone can actually increase your risk. If you're here in the U.S., it can increase your risk of getting a notice to appear in immigration court for deportation. That's why I say it's very important to understand how you qualify, what you qualify for. Don't make guesses. This is not the time to guess anything now. Make sure you're sure about the law. Make sure you get legal advice. Do I really need an attorney for adjustment of status through marriage? I feel I can do it. Well, I am traveling because I just attended an interview with my client today. And trust me, I'm so happy I was there with my client, because it was not an easy interview, right? And the case is pretty straightforward, but it was not easy. So I would say, guys, get an attorney. We made it through. We made it through. And we are very optimistic. But if I had not been there to guide my client on the right process, or right way to approach an interview, it may have been a different story, right? So that's where I'm saying it can make a difference, because you're going into a situation you've never been in before. I was in a situation where I've seen it so many times that I can advise my client properly, and I can interject in certain places where I know, okay, that may be an error, or I need to speak up here. You're going in for the first time, And there's no room for errors. Errors in this process, unfortunately, can mean a world of pain. So I say get on at being straight up. It's optional. It's optional. It's not required, but it can make a difference for sure. How long does the NBC take to approve and expedite? Um, so with the expedite, guys, expedite could mean a month. It could mean 4 months, unfortunately. 7-year-old, 7-year-old, I'm not sure what that means. Gonna affect citizenship interview or not? I'm not sure. I'm sorry, that question, I'm not sure what it means. Is age difference a problem in marriage? It can be a red flag. So age difference, over a 10-year age gap can be a red flag. They're gonna ask more questions. How long does it take for a J2 visa holder to get an employment authority document, please? An EAD. So I'd have to check if J2s can qualify for an EAD. I would have to check to see. I don't believe that's a category that qualifies for an EAD. How do you prove case when you were waived in at the border? So you're going to, there are ways. It depends on how, but an affidavit can be acceptable. Can someone return to the US if they use the home app to self-deport? I got this question. Um, I would say yes. Now, in theory, you can use the app. However, will you actually get the benefit when you get home? That's a different story. I have yet to talk to someone who has done it and everything worked all fine. Um, but I say this, guys, there are legal ways to stay here. If you have legal options, the deportation is for people that they really don't want to stay here for this, and they have no qualifications. Have you checked to see if you qualify to stay here? Because that's what we help with. And it would be with some forms of relief, once you leave, you can't get it. So just always consult an attorney first. You do have the right to consult an attorney, okay, before getting up and taking any actions. At least do that. That is confidence. All right. Thank you so much for waiting. Thank you. My power went out, so I'm glad I could just pick up where I left off. Let's see on Instagram. Let's see if it comes back on. All right. So I'm gonna answer some more questions. All right. So let's see. Um, How to expedite asylum green card. So if you have an urgent medical issue, you can expedite there. I overstayed my visa for 2 years. I never left the US. I married a citizen, adjusted status, got my conditional green card. Can I travel to see my mom? So I answered that. As a green card holder, you can absolutely travel. Just make sure there's nothing in your background that's going to be a concern. What reason do you think to apply expedite my asylum case? I don't have my immediate family back home, but I'm here. If there is an urgent matter, humanitarian issue, then you could submit an expedite request. I'm on Instagram, by the way. I'm a U.S. citizen filing for my family. And I don't see the husband and two unmarried kids under 21. So they are considered immediate relatives of US citizens. Now, if they're outside of the US, you can still expect a 1.5 to 2 year process. If they're in the United States, you can expect about a year to a year and a half process. How long does it take to get your work permit after I denied because USCIS did not see I-485 receipt? I got my new receipt notice, but they didn't give you a biometrics. What's next? That's a lot to take in. Work permits, I don't know what case type you have. If it is marriage based, you're looking at 3 to 6 months. If it's a VAWA, you're looking at 6 to 12 months. Can you travel on your extension stamp? Yes, we've had clients that have traveled on the extension stamp for the green card, and it has been fine. Hello, good night. What is the processing time for Form I-130 if you file in 2025? So I answered that. It depends. It can be anywhere from a year, 9 months to a year, even it could be anywhere from 2 to 5 years. It just depends. What do you mean by humanitarian conditions back home? It could be back home, it could be here. That's where your particular circumstances is going to be very important to understand. If it's urgent, somebody's going to be harmed, the conditions in your country are degrading or getting worse, those are examples of humanitarian conditions. Okay. I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Thanks everybody for your time, and thank you for your patience as I dealt with the technical issue here because I'm on the go, so I don't have the usual setup that I do. So thank you everybody for your time. Remember, like, subscribe, follow, share. That's how others are going to see information that empowers them during the immigration process. And then also by doing that, you'll be able to see me when I come on so that you can hop on and ask questions. I'm traveling. So what that means is I may not be on tomorrow, but I am going to work to get back on track on Monday. You may see me tomorrow though. So that's where I say like, subscribe, share, follow, because you may see me on your timeline tomorrow. I just try to hop on any opportunity I get. Thanks again, everybody, for your time. All the best. Remember, we walk in action, faith, and so we're solution oriented, right? That's where you're going to see progress and success in your life in anything you do by taking those actions. All right, have a good night. I will see you on tomorrow or Monday.